Hey y'all, welcome back. So for today's video, I want to talk about the second round of Monster High inspired shoes that YRU Shoes is releasing. I'm very excited about this, and the topic of this video is actually why we have a video today at all. Some of you guys might be confused because usually I have a very strict Monday, Wednesday, Friday video upload schedule, and today we're doing a bonus video on Thursday. The reason for that is because according to the Instagram post from YRU Shoes on one of the shoes in this Monster High collection, these shoes should be dropping tomorrow, 8/25, August 25th at 9 a.m. PST, which for me is noon in Eastern Standard Time. Obviously, depending on your time zone, that will be different. But the last time that Monster High and YRU did a shoe collab, I made a video about it, but I was a little bit too late. By the time I had the video posted, the pre-sale was already up, and I think it had actually already sold out. So I'm doing an extra video this week because I really wanted to be able to get this video up before the shoes go up for sale and then before they sell out. It is going to be a pre-sale, and I think last time they came back in stock a few times, so hopefully that will be the case this time as well. Hopefully it won't be a situation where they're sold out and that's it completely. But yeah, I just wanted to be able to get a video out in a more timely fashion, so we're doing a little bonus one this week. As per usual, if you guys find yourself enjoying the video, if you could give it a like, that's super helpful to me. And then if you're new here and you enjoy your time, definitely subscribe so you can see more. But yeah, we're going to be talking about all the shoes from this Monster High collab. I'm super excited. I feel like the first round was really fun. There were a lot of cool shoes in that one, and I do think a lot of the ones in this round are super cool as well. One thing to note is that last time the prices were, I believe, all above $100 US. Some of them were $170 US. Because of the time that I'm filming this, I have the Instagram posts that show all of the shoes from the collection, but I don't have the listings on the YRU Shoes website available to me. So currently, at time of filming, I don't have the prices for the individual shoes. I'm going to try to put the price in the upper corner, when I'm talking about each individual shoe. I'm hoping that I will be able to see the listings before it gets to the point where I have to have this video edited and uploaded. If you don't see prices in the upper corner here, that means that I had to upload it before I could see the prices. As soon as I can, I'll put them in a pinned comment down below so that you can have some frame of reference for that. It's just one of those things where it's it does take me time to film and then edit and then upload and make subtitles for these videos. So it's kind of hard to do when things are announced very rapidly, or all of the information becomes available very soon before I would need to have the video out. So I'm just doing the best that I can. Anyway, though, that was a lot of introduction. I'm super sorry. I am going to be looking at these shoes in no particular order. It's not I have it ranked from my least favorite to my most favorite or anything like that. We're just going to be talking about them. So, starting off with a pair of Draculaura inspired boots. I love these. I actually think these are so cute. I like the color, the way that it's mostly this light pink. I just think is very light and reminds me of kind of Draculaura's aesthetic, but the chunkiness and the black accents also give it the edgy bit of Draculaura's aesthetic. I just feel I could absolutely see the doll wearing these, even though these are not a shoe that she's ever worn. I think they look absolutely fabulous. I honestly have no complaints. Even the shiny material they're made of, I just feel they look so good. So we're off to a very strong start. The next shoe is pretty much the exact same, but it is in a different colorway. So this is all black mostly with just hot pink. There's none of the light pink in there, and honestly I really do miss it. Even if it weren't the entire shoe, I kind of wish there was some light pink in there. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I still think that they're cool shoes because it's literally the exact same shoe, I like the shape of the shoe, I like the build of the shoe. So I still think they're really cool, but I just think I like the other color a little bit better. Next up is going to be a shoe inspired by Frankie. Very similar cut to the last two Draculaura ones, although this is more of a matte color instead of a shiny material. I'm not 100% sure what materials they're made out of, but yeah, this is kind of more of a matte. I do think that these are pretty cool. I still like Draculaura's just a little bit better, but I do like the color on these. I think that the black works a lot better for Frankie than the Draculaura one, at least in my opinion. Reminds me, I forgot to give my usual disclaimer. These are just my opinions, and if you disagree, that is totally fine. It doesn't matter, and you're entitled to your own opinions. So yeah, this is just my thoughts. But yeah, I do think that the black works better for Frankie, and I really like the blue piping. I think that's really fun. I don't like them quite as much, but that's just a personal thing. I still think they're a really solid shoe. This one, though. This one I really, really like. So this is the first out of 2 shoes for Clawdeen from this release. And these are just so fun to me. Again, it's a very similar like shape and cut to the Draculaura ones and the Frankie ones. But this is just so amazing. I love the werewolf skeleton on the straps. All of the gold accents really, really pop on this shoe to me. But my favorite part is that it is like all this purple velvet material. And it's just so fun. I feel like purple velvet is not what I personally think of when I think of shoes. It's not my first thought. But it looks amazing. I think the color is a great choice. It's just very fun and interesting. I feel like with any of YRU shoes, I can't call them simplistic because none of them are simple. This is more simple than some of the other entries, but I think it works really, really well. Just the fabric choice is so good to me. I am obsessed with this one. And then much like Draculaura, Clawdeen did get a recolor of her boots, so there is also an all black version. This is kind of hard for me because I do think that the all black version probably matches a lot better with a lot more stuff. Just in general, like any neutral color is going to be a little bit easier to wear with more outfits versus like a colored color like purple. But I think that the purple's more fun. That's not to say that I think this is a bad shoe in any way whatsoever. I still think it's really, really cute. But I just think that the purple is a little bit more exciting, and I do think it reminds me a little bit more of Clawdeen. If it weren't for the fact that we have the wolf skeletons on the straps on this one as well, and like the little wolf print on the heel of the shoe, I don't know if like I would really recognize these as being Clawdeen inspired. So I still think they're really cool, but I just like the purple ones a lot better. Okay, this is the first one that I have anything like kind of negative to say. I don't think it's a bad shoe objectively. If you didn't see like my video or any videos or anything about the first YRU and Monster High collab, this is just a recolor of the pink boots that Draculaura got from the first round of releases. It is supposed to be a reference to the Real Drama Draculaura doll, so it's literally just the same shoe, but it's in like all grayscale. And objectively, I don't think that it's a bad shoe. I still think that it's a fun, like, shape and cut. I like the ribbons and everything. But 2 things. One, I get, like, the recolors within the same release. Obviously, the first pair of Draculaura shoes had a recolor, and the Clawdeen shoes had a recolor. And that kind of makes sense to me. I guess it's a little bit odd to me to not have done this in, like, the first release when these boots first came out in pink. But more so, I'm just kind of getting tired of the Draculaura shoes. Spoiler alert for more to come in the future of this video. But in this round of releases, Draculaura does get 4 shoes if you count the first shoe, like, and it's 2 colorways as 2 shoes technically. I just feel like it's too much. Like, I don't think this was necessary. There are so many other characters in Monster High that have iconic shoes. Personally, I am dying to see a Spectra shoe. Like, that's all that I want in this world is a Spectra shoe. Wouldn't even match anything that I wear now, but like, I would want to have it. And I know a lot of other people feel that way as well about Spectra specifically, but also other characters. There's so many characters who have cool shoes and cool designs. So it's just a little bit disappointing to see Draculaura get 4 shoes from this release. I know she's a very popular character and I love Draculaura as well, but it's just a lot. And I don't particularly think that this release was super necessary. I guess if you were a really, really big fan of the Real Drama dolls, this might be exciting for you. Personally, I wasn't into the Real Drama dolls, so maybe that's affecting how I'm feeling about this. But also, the Real Drama dolls were so hard to get for some people that, like, I feel like this shoe could bring up bad memories. I don't know, I might be reading way too much into this, but this is honestly probably my least favorite shoe of the release. Speaking of other characters, though, next up we have a shoe for Elizabeth, which is kind of a shocker. I find this very fascinating because I'm not sure why Elizabeth seems to get these like special releases sometimes. The first thing I thought of when I saw this shoe was back in like Gen 1 of Monster High when they did the Frightfully Tall ghouls. I think that's what they were called. It doesn't matter. They were like the extra tall dolls that were like the same scale as Calliope, but they were the original cast. So you got Frankie and Draculaura and Clawdeen. I think those were the only 3. And then weirdly enough, there was also a 17-inch Elizabeth, and it was just such a strange character choice, at least from my perspective, both at the time and now. Like, it would have made more sense to make like a Ghoulia or a Cleo to me, but Elizabeth got an extra tall doll, and now we have Elizabeth getting a shoe release. That's not to say that I'm complaining, like I'm not upset about it, but I just think it's very fascinating because I'm not sure why Monster High keeps giving her like these unique releases. She's not the only like non-main character to get shoes this round, but she wouldn't have been the first one at the top of my head when it's like, oh, who should we make shoes for? All of that aside, though, I do think they're absolutely sick shoes. These are amazing. My 18-year-old self would have been dying to buy these. They're really, really good. I think the material is super nice. It has like a very interesting, almost puffy quality that I really like, especially in the bows you can see it. They're all black, so again, they're going to be very easy to style. I think these look amazing. So I'm saying all this stuff about why did Elizabeth get shoes, but I'm really not upset. It's just kind of like a fun little question in my head. But I think that these are so good. Like the hearts at the end of the strings are just so cute. I don't know. It's funny because, again, she's not a character I would have expected, but these are some of the better shoes from the release, in my opinion. Like, these are so solid. And then next up, we have the last pair of Draculaura shoes that we will be talking about today. These are actually inspired by, I want to say, the first round of Skulltimate Secrets dolls, the Draculaura doll, which is interesting because I think this is the only Gen 3 shoe release that we're getting. I do understand why, just because I feel like the people who are, like, in a place where they can spend this much money on shoes probably are a little bit older and therefore probably were fans of Gen 1. So I do totally understand why we are seeing a lot of Gen 1 inspired designs. But yeah, this is the only shoe that's inspired by G3. I think that they're cute. Like, I love the bats on the platform, these straps crisscrossing with the hearts. It's a cute design, but again, I'm just like, this is the 4th Draculaura shoe. And I just wish we could have seen a shoe for somebody else. You know, I just think that would have been cool. I already said I would love to see Spectra's shoes. And, like, Venus. Venus literally has, like, teeth on her shoe. It's so fun and so different. And I would love to see a take on that. So they're not bad shoes, but I think part of me kind of, like, resents them because I feel like they could have been a different character. Again, that's maybe just a personal thing, and I know a lot of people love Draculaura, so, like, I'm hoping a lot of people love these shoes. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just a little disappointing. These ones, though, not a disappointment at all. We got some furry boots for Abbey, and they look so cool. I will say I think that they're probably extremely impractical because based on the image that I have, it looks like the fur goes all the way to the bottom of the platform. To be fair, that could change. Like, we could get more proper stock photos, and it could be that that's not the case. But just from what I can see, it looks like the fur does go down literally to the ground, and it's white fur. So I live in an area where it rains like a decent amount, so my first thought is like mud and puddles. But even if you live in a dry area, you could still get like dirt or just like black residue from asphalt and like parking lots and stuff like that. So that's kind of sad because especially because they're white fur, like it's not like it's black fur where it would get dirty but you couldn't see it as much. This is going to be so obvious when you've worn these shoes, if I'm right and if the fur goes all the way down. So I do feel like they're maybe the most impractical pair out of this release. That being said, I still think they're so good. Like, they're so cool to me. They're pretty simple, quote unquote, compared to like some of the other ones in the sense that like there's just one color, there's not a ton of embellishment, but the fur is just such a statement and I love it so much. And then that little dangling crystal bit, like the little accent there with the tinge of blue, it just absolutely sells it for me. It's so cool, it's so pretty. They're not something that I feel like I would be capable of walking about wearing because like I would have these ruined in 2 seconds. But they're so cool. Almost done here. We are in the final 2 pairs of shoes. Next up, we have to talk about Laguna's flip-flops. So this one is very interesting because there are so many comments under the Instagram post here of people who are mad about this release. And I have to be honest, I don't understand why. With the first round of releases of shoes, there was no like Laguna-inspired shoe, and people were asking for one. And most of the shoes, at least like in the first round, were inspired by like the core doll for that character. So like core Draculaura's boots. We had core Clawdeen's shoes. We got core Ghoulia's shoes. So it makes sense to me that they would do core Laguna's shoes. And a lot of people seem really upset about it. So it's just fascinating to me because it's like, you guys wanted a Laguna shoe. This is what I thought they would do for a Laguna shoe. That's not like, I'm not trying to be mean if you are disappointed by these, because again, you are absolutely entitled to your opinion. I guess I'm just like confused with the logic there. I don't know if people just don't like platform flip-flops or like what this situation is. I know that maybe they are a little bit less exciting than like some of the other ones that are like boots because they're a lot bigger and there's a lot more stuff going on with them. But I do think that they're pretty accurate to the doll. I do think that like Laguna's shoe is all black in the back, like the black and white stripes don't go all the way around. But they're pretty darn accurate to what Laguna's shoe is. And as someone who horrifically wore platform flip-flops all the time when I was like 10 to 12, honestly, these are like kind of nostalgic for me. I feel like if these had come out back then, I would have been begging my parents to be able to get these because they're Monster High and also they're platform flip-flops. So I don't know, maybe they're not the most practical because they could be a little bit harder to walk in with the heel and the platform and like not having as much stability around your ankle. But I do think they're pretty accurate to the character, and I do think that they are pretty fun. So personally, I do like this release. Like, I think this was a solid design on YRU's part. And then the last one to talk about is my girl, Cleo. Very, very excited about these. I really like Cleo, so I am kind of biased in that sense. I also really like the color yellow, so I think that the color for me is better than it will be for other people. I did see a few comments talking about how they wish they were less of a bright yellow and more of like a tan, and I totally get why, because on Cleo's doll, she does have more of like a tan bandage versus a bright yellow bandage, so I do get that that's probably just my bias towards the color yellow that's making me like them more. If I was going to change the color, I honestly think that it would be better, instead of going towards the tan route, to go towards more of like a gold route. I think that would have been cool, more of like a metallic gold. But even so, I just think that these look really cool. They look like her wrap shoes, and of course we have the big black platform with these studs around the bottom. And it's kind of hard to see in this picture, but towards like the heel of the platform, there is the little skelet of Cleo, like her mummy skelet, embossed into the black. And I just think that they look really, really fun. I do think these are not for everybody. Like, I think these are going to be a little bit more divisive, but personally, I really like them. So yeah, guys, that is going to be it for my like roundup of YRU's second collaboration with Monster High. Overall, I really do like most of the shoes. My biggest complaint from the lineup is just that there's too many Draculaura shoes. Again, I get that she's a main character and a very popular character. I just would like to see like a little bit more of like a diversification in the characters that we're seeing shoes from, but I do think the designs are pretty solid across the board. I am hoping that this drop is as successful as the first one and that we do get to see even more shoes in the future, because like I said, there's some characters that I really need to see shoes for. Like, I need to see these come to life, but obviously only time will tell. I would love to hear what you guys think about all of these shoes in the comments down below, and if you are planning on trying to get any of them, I would just like to kind of hear what your thoughts on these are. But yeah, that is going to be it for today. I do hope you guys enjoyed. As always, I have my Instagram and my TikTok in the description down below, as well as my Amazon wish list. So if you want to like see other stuff that I'm posting or support me in other ways, you can definitely check those out. But yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.